I am naked in the creek right now, and it is divine.
My name is River, and over the past few years, I've been feeling a deep, primal beckoning into a slower life, rooted in a desire to live more harmoniously with nature's rhythms. I invite you to join me as I expand my curiosity and embark on adventures to commune with beautiful planet Earth, partaking in all of her mystery and abundance.
Well, hi everybody. I am here at a creek near Ojai, and I'm going to be doing some bathing naked and washing some clothes today. But before I get into that, I wanted to take some time to answer some questions that one of my subscribers left in the comments of one of my previous videos. I think this person's name is Eve. I don't want to presume your gender, so I'm just going to call you Eve. But Eve brings up some amazing questions, and that really is the whole heart and intention behind the experiment that I'm doing. I already know I won't do this perfectly. I already know that there will be some fumbling and difficulties, and that I'll probably work my way through this experiment clumsily. I certainly don't claim to have all of the answers, but I will answer honestly with where I'm at, with the knowledge that I currently have, and I welcome people to share their knowledge and experience as it comes up. One of the questions that Eve asks is whether or not it's safe to bathe in natural bodies of water. Maybe way a long time ago, before global industrialization, but what about now? Have we not polluted all of our bodies of water to the point where it's unsafe to drink or bathe in? A lot of us have grown up hearing about climate crisis and environmental crisis, and there is merit to all of that. We are in a conundrum as a species on planet Earth right now, and we have not been good stewards of the planet. And because of that, we have harmed entire ecosystems. The scope of this goes far beyond what I can even comprehend. I will say, however, that I have great faith in the Earth's ability to heal herself. And I also think that the Earth is a lot bigger than most of us can really comprehend. The solo winter road trip I did, I really only covered a few states in the Southwest, and the expanse of open land and nature and mountains and rivers and streams and creeks that I saw on my drive went on for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles before you see any signs of human life. The only sign of human life is me and the highway, the other cars around me. And just knowing how big planet Earth is, I have great faith that she will be able to heal herself from the damage that we have inflicted upon her. I also believe that where we're at now, there are safe places to bathe in streams of water. There are safe places to bathe in the ocean, because if it's safe enough to swim in, then it's safe enough to bathe in. It might not be up to the societal standards that we have been indoctrinated with, but it is enough for me. It's really up to every individual to take personal responsibility for learning how to identify whether or not a body of water is safe. For instance, the closest river to my house runs through multiple towns and cities before it empties out into the ocean, and I would not bathe in that river. Where I'm at now is way up in the mountains. There are no towns anywhere around for many, many miles, and a lot of this water is flowing directly down from the top of the mountains. I suspect there are some natural springs around here. There is a natural spring just a few miles north of here, so I feel pretty confident bathing here in this creek. It is a little frustrating that you need a vehicle, and you have to use a vehicle which utilizes fossil fuels in order to access these spaces, and I do wonder whether or not that balances out in the long run between my water usage and fuel usage. But this is an experiment, and we're here just to see what happens and how it affects my life and my rhythms. And if this brings me closer to nature in a way that I can think more clearly and learn more and get creative with my daily rhythms and just, having a time and a space to commune with planet Earth, I wonder if that might be the trade-off, where I'm technically still using gas, but I'm saving water, but I'm also getting to experience nature in a profound way in the process. I also feel perfectly safe bathing in the ocean. I don't live near Oceanside or LA County, so I'm not really worried about pollution in the water. The beaches that I like to bathe in are very clean beaches. There are also websites where you can check the cleanliness of the water overall. When you live by the ocean and when you've surfed, you kind of learn how to not only read the water just by looking at it, but you actually check on the safety of the water. There are dudes that I see out here, like while it's raining actively or like after many days of rain, they're still out there. They're still out there surfing and they're fine. So it really is like enter into a body of water at your own risk. But I personally don't like to let fear guide those kinds of decisions. And I know that question isn't coming from a place of fear. It's a perfectly valid question. But if I were to be worried about the cleanliness of the water and thinking about that while I'm getting in there, fear affects your biochemistry, and your biochemistry affects your health. So the thoughts that we think and how we engage with nature really does have an impact on our health. So if I'm worried about getting sick and I get into a body of water, I'm more likely to actually get sick. That's what the placebo effect is, basically in reverse. So I don't like to think fearfully so much about my environment and nature and mankind's impact on it in that way. I think in just showing up here and communing with the water, putting my energy and my heart and my prayers into the water, I am healing myself, whether or not the makeup of the water is perfectly to the organic conditions of Earth, virgin Earth, if that makes sense. So that was the first question. And then the other question Eve asked is, why bother using any store-bought products at all? I think specifically Eve was referring to the Castile soap that I'm using. And I thought that was an awesome question too, because I am actually looking into plants that can be used as soap. And there is a plant out here. I think it's the wavy-leafed soap plant. I might have a couple of those words wrong because I might have a touch of dyslexia. But the wavy-leaf soap plant, you have to use the flower to create suds. And it's actually abundant up here, but the flower isn't blooming yet. So that is in my plan to harvest the bulb of the flower. And you can actually eat it too. The Chumash will roast it and eat it when acorns are scarce. So that is part of the journey, but I don't want to waste what I already have. I haven't really purchased any new body products except for some face oil that my dad got me when I was visiting my family in Arizona. And the face oil was made by a small local company. Other than that, I don't really buy any new body products. I probably will continue purchasing the paper cartons of the Dr. Bronner's Castile soap because it is biodegradable and it's like the best soap. It's called magic soap for a reason. And I would highly encourage and invite people into researching more about Dr. Bronner's soap. I use it for everything now. I use it for dishes, I use it for washing my clothes, I use it for bathing. And of course, I don't use it directly in the stream of water. I fill a bucket with water, add soap to it with a rag, I do my washing, and then I'm sure to empty the bucket of water at least 200 feet away from the stream or the creek that I got it from. But it is perfectly biodegradable, the Dr. Bronner's magic soap. It's one of the best solutions I have found. In an ideal world, in a perfect world, I could just commit myself to going fully natural, living in nature, living in the mountains. But as I said in my first video, I lack the skills and the knowledge and the experience to do that right now. I am in the process of doing baby steps. I also work, I have a job. When you're foraging and doing everything as low waste as possible, it's time consuming. It's a lot more time consuming than the convenience-based lifestyle that we are taught to live in. And I have made a lot of changes in the last couple of years, but I still have a long way to go. So I just ask for grace and patience and curiosity and compassion as I continue to learn. None of it will be perfect. My aim is to buy as little as possible from stores and the existing infrastructures as I cultivate the skills necessary to survive independent of those systems. Well, Eve, I hope that that answers your questions. Thank you so much. Those are incredible questions. And I invite everyone to keep the questions coming. My heart in all of this is just to help people zoom out a little bit and to consider our impact on not only the environment, but just on systems and supply and demand, and how our participation in these systems contributes to the overall geopolitical climate that we are in. I'm going to bathe now, but I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to sharing this experience with you. Naked in the creek right now, and it is divine. This is amazing. It's of course very cold, and that's to be expected, but you kind of get used to it. And the sun's shining, so it doesn't feel so bad. And I've already bathed, and I have yet to do laundry, but I have to do that closer to the road because I'll have to haul more water back and forth. And I had to hike up the creek quite a bit to get to a more quiet, private, secluded spot. And if anyone else gets here, then they are determined, because it was not easy to get to this spot. But it's beautiful. There's actually like ferns growing on the canyon walls here, and you don't see that very often in Southern California. So I'm just gonna soak this in and sit in the present moment, because I feel like I am in heaven right now. This is truly paradise.
I know you
was to use this bucket to rinse everything, and then I used this bucket to agitate and wash all of my clothes. I used maybe 3 or 4 drops of the Castile soap in a very small amount of water, and I went and dumped it up the road a little bit away from the creek. And then I rinsed it again after I wrung it out. I rinsed it again in the river and then wrung it out again. So I'm gonna have to do my laundry in small batches, which means I might have to come up here a couple times a week, which should be lovely. I love coming up here. All right, well, I'm all done here. I want to stay a lot longer, but I have things I have to do. Not very important things, but somewhat important things. Just not very important. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I greatly appreciate you. And until next time, friend, I pray you stay well. Okay, bye!